What's going on, guys? Kaiger here. Today we're doing an interview with AhmadWalid, the #1 CP player on EU. We're going to check into all of his stats. We're going to have him answer a bunch of questions and see how he approaches all the game modes and his build. Let's get into it. Alright, guys, so a lot of you have asked me to check out different servers, different regions, and what I've done the past couple weeks is I've gone to at least 100 on every region, and these are generally still the top players I've seen. Maybe there's some hidden Krakens on some later servers, but this one, for example, EU, I went up to server 120, and AhmadWalid is still the strongest. I asked him the same questions that we had with yesterday's video, and as we see right here, same exact questions. He wanted to wait until the 22nd when he hit Firmament, so bam, got that Firmament. Also posted it on my Discord when he reached it, as well as the first JP player I posted when they hit Firmament. I'm keeping an eye on a lot of people and keeping track of Firmament players. 10 after events, screenshots. He's on EU 87. He on PvE he uses Craftsman for crit damage and Scholar for damage increase, so that would be Priest. For PvP, he's using Ranger and Scholar, so it's going to be Marksman, Priest. I use Slaughter 12, Fierce 12, and 4-set Break Free. I only switch my Fairy Formation and Will Generations, but I'm working on making separate IO and gear for PvP and PvE. This is going to be his PvE stats and fairies. So as we see right here, Spirit Infusion will not change. Looks very similar to what we saw on the other one. Only difference is he has Helmet maxed out as well, which is level of elemental fairies. And he has secondary weapon maxed out, but not main weapon. So that's going to be less CC on enemies. But everything else is pretty much what we saw from the other guy. Oh yeah, 200% crit rate, 50 crit damage. Remember, this is PvE. For PvP, he's probably going to have more crit rate. But in PvE, this is generally going to be fine with his double buffs. Damage increase 130%. Damage to boss 17. Sorry, damage to boss 46%. There we go. Yeah, that's more what I was thinking. And then he's using the Holy. He's using the two important ones right here. Really three that I would say. He would probably be better off with this 4th slot using Laurel instead for the burst. But he might value the swap damage more than the active from Laurel. Then we go on to his PvP stats and fairies. Less HP but higher other stats. Then we have He's actually the same crit, but lower crit damage, which is interesting. I think he might have some trouble when he's not in a double buff mode. When he doesn't have Star Blessing and Never Miss at the same time, he might have some trouble against some higher players. Damage increase is good. Players increased 53, 40%. And I always found this funny, right? Damage to adventurers increased, damage from players reduced. It's the same. Just make it players increased, players reduced. Whatever. And then fairies, he added... So he took out the 2 PvE ones and added 2 more PvP ones. And I think this is fine. The only one that I would do personally is Hibiscus over Mistletoe. Unless he's worried about too many dashes in the first couple seconds of the fight. Generally, I value the bonuses from Hibiscus. But he may value the cage that if they use a dodge, they get stunned. PvE Fairy focused on making the most damage against Guild Boss. PvP focused on CCs. Yep, as we just said. We talked about this in yesterday's video. 120. Each page is 40. So it goes green, blue, and purple. And as we see, Cannon is also 120. And he swaps them. So he doesn't have as much as the other player that has 108 on the third one. But he probably can get pretty close with the extra 5,000 currency. He wanted to point out, this wasn't part of the questions, but he wanted to point out every single fate card is both reds on everything. If you don't know, you can only have 2 of the same card on the same piece of equipment. So you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I generally tell people to try to get the 2 red and 2 yellow of the same stat you're looking for. For example, crit damage increase, and then the crit damage increase yellows. Whereas over here we have the crit damage increase and the break attack, as well as a random percent stat that he obviously has on everything, which is pretty ridiculous, and they're all at plus 15, which is a lot. He wanted to add some extra screenshots. His crystals are at roughly 250. Most of them are 8 or 9. Almost all of them are 8 or 9. Everything over here is 24, 26, 29. Plus 12s working on plus 13s. And that's just stat. And integrated offense defense is currently not working, but when it is working, it's going to be very good for him. And if you were unaware, I believe it's 100 on the top and 60 on the bottom are the max numbers. So he's getting pretty close to max on both there, and a little behind on that one there. 200 is the max on treasures, and he's almost there. He's just missing those 4. And he also has them at 2 red. Guys got a little wild. Regarding my approach for events, I used to purchase everything until nothing is left, which is what we saw from Nanami. But now with most of my things are maxed, I just purchase what I need. I think these all of information screenshots you asked for. Let me know. More details. He started at the end of August 2023. Might interest people that want to know how much progression is made on time spent. Most, if not all, high CP players have been before me and already max character 220. Being the highest CP doesn't mean I'm the best. There are many players with better experience and knowledge of the game than me. We already checked out his Spirit Infusions. He wanted to show a little bit about his stats if you were unaware. So there's pink, so there's red, then there's pink, then there's like a lavender, like this dark purple, and that's what we have right here, and they're all +2. And once people get to the 220 range, I believe he's 218 as we see right here. But once people are at this range where they're farming this gear and only this gear and already have this, they're doing PvE sets and PvP sets. For example, this would be a PvE set with pierce, damage increase, damage to boss, crit, attack, pretty good. Only one that he would want is something different for tenacity here, right? Everything else is pure PvE damage. Whereas he could have a PvP one, which will have more beneficial stats for PvP. Now, ask any other questions for AhmadWalid down below. And either he will answer, I will answer, or I will tell him about the question and he can go answer himself. But it looks like he has the 2 sets, yep, right there. And it looks like he's on his way. This was a great one. He gave us a lot of information and we got to see some ideas. What I'm hoping to see from some of these other interviews is more information on what they're doing with events. Because right now with these first 2, all they've said is, I buy everything. And it'd be really nice if they're like, yeah, I focused on crystals and then I focused on Spirit Infusions. But they're just dumping enough money to do all at the same time. Till next time, guys.